Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. I just watched the second episode of Game of Thrones, and this is, for those of you that don't know, this is the last season of the Game of Thrones, and many of you out there watch the show like I do, so I won't spoil anything, but I will make a prediction. This is my prediction out of nowhere. I think that, I don't even remember all the people's names, but the blonde queen, or whatever you call her, she and Jon Snow, I believe they're going to be at odds before this thing's over, and one of them is going to have the other killed. That's my prediction. I'm just reading between the lines here. I think at some point, maybe, I think it might be him having to have her killed, because that's the type thing that's the least likely scenario. In the whole show, she has not, one time, there hasn't been any weakness in her ever since she was, got the dragons and all that business. But anyway, that's what I think. That's where I think all this is going, but I don't have anything to prove that. That's just my thoughts. Okay. First, I wanted to start out with this, and I want to say a couple of things before I show you this. The first thing is, I'm not showing it to you because I agree with what this guy's saying here. I'm showing it to you mainly because it's so bizarre the way this guy acts and what he says in this short video that I just thought it was something you had to see. In this video right here, this guy. Now, first let's talk about who this guy is. I was trying to figure out who he was. And I looked in the comment here, and he said it's Dan Pena. And so I went and looked the guy up and gave him a follow just because I thought he was such an interesting character on that stage. He's obviously a hype man type guy, but he calls himself the $50 billion man, financial magician, Midas touch, created over $50 billion as high performance business coach. Worldwide founder, Guthrie Castle QLA high performance seminar. So he gives seminars, and he cusses like a sailor up there, and that's part of maybe his thing that catches people's attention. So when you get a chance, I want you to go and watch this video. Now, what at Shaco Doggo says is, why would Bitcoin go to zero? Because what he says in here is he knows who the Bitcoin creator is, and when the world finds out, it is going to go to zero. And he says, zero, he's screaming and yelling. Why would Bitcoin go to zero? David Schwartz will reveal himself and show the world that XRP is the real product, so people will FOMO in XRP. BTC just a prototype, XRP the real dealio. And so he's kind of joking here. But I'm in no way saying that I agree that David Schwartz is Satoshi Nakamoto. That's a lot of the type thing that's been being said lately. But this video I wanted to show you just because who knows if this guy really knows, or he's just hyping this up and knows that he can get attention by putting this in a video. The point is that it's interesting enough for you to go and watch. And so it's entertaining at a minimum. Next, now I've shown this thread before, but another interesting character came in on the thread. Brian Armstrong tweeted this. This is such a great headline. And then the other day we covered that Vitalik Buterin, who created Ethereum, weighed in and said, "Fun fact, I tried to be an intern at Ripple." We talked about that the other day. Well, then Justin Sun came in, who we've also talked about. He's the founder of Tron. We also talked about how Justin Sun worked at Ripple in Asia. And then he comes into this thread and says, when I found out these facts from Just Moon, who is Stefan Thomas, who also worked at Ripple, in late 2013 and 2014, we had both been at Ripple. I am certain we would have been buddies since we would have been the only two millennials there. And he's tweeting tweeting that to Vitalik Buterin. I just wanted to show you this to illustrate. Look, I keep telling you, everywhere you look in the financial world now, Ripple or XRP is under the financial rock. Anywhere. But not just that. Everyone who's anyone in blockchain, whether it's a venture capitalist or some of these smart young guys that are creating and building out there, they've all, in one way or another, either are or have been involved with Ripple. And so I see all these people try to tweet out all these things that are anti-Ripple and all. And I mean, I would just be embarrassed. It's embarrassing how short-sighted and stupid that anyone who could possibly survey the landscape of digital assets and come away with anything about XRP other than, wow, I've never seen a startup company that's 5 to 7 years old have this kind of a global footprint. I'm 45 years old now. I've never in my life seen not any startup ever that has created this kind of a global footprint, that has this kind of connections, and I'm going to show you some of those in a second, this kind of contacts, connections, and reach as Ripple. Not one, not ever in my lifetime. And what's cooler than that, what's more amazing than that, is that not only is it that company, but it also is the first one that I've been able to invest in before it went public. Or not invest in the company, but invest in a digital asset that I believe is going to move in proportion over time with the success of Ripple, the company, as well as all of the other companies with new and unseen and unknown use cases that we will find out about down the road. It's the first in my lifetime. That's why I started this channel. I've never seen anything like it. I lived through the .com boom and bust. And that's a big part of the reason that I immediately recognized how huge what the potential of this was as an investor in the digital asset. And so this excites me even more when I see things like this. This is something I just felt compelled to show you. This makes me even more excited about being invested in XRP right now. What is the one digital asset? This guy says, the crypto bull run has already started. Prices since last year. And what is the one digital asset that you do not see in this list? And the worst return is Ethereum in this list with 24%. Tron 32%. BTC 37%. What is the worst return is 24%. What is the one digital asset that you don't see in this list? And for that reason, it's XRP. And for that reason, I'm more excited about my investment than I have been at any time in the last 15 months because I know how this game works. And when XRP blasts off, you just sit back and watch because not one digital asset on this list has 1/100th of what's going on as compared to XRP in terms of adoption, use case, and what is happening with the Ripple use case as well as the creation of other use cases and creating arms of Ripple that will create other use cases. None of these companies are doing anything bordering on that. I'm going to show you something from one of my favorites, which is Holochain in a minute, that shows you that they've got a huge thing they're working on. But even that is not in the league of what Ripple's got going on. Okay. Radiogenic at Radio G3 Nick sent me this. And this is it's from the IMF. Should central banks issue digital currencies? They did a video on this, and so you need to go to IMF, IMF News, and click on this link, and you can go watch the video where they have a whole panel discussion about it. But the fact that they're on stage discussing it tells you everything. This is a guy from the Bank of Canada. This is Rise Bank, both of which I think are Ripple partners, and the IMF, which also is obviously connected to Ripple somehow. We see it all the time. Next, this is something you got to go watch too. The aftermath of, this is from Dan Prepescu, the aftermath of the 2008 crisis that we never really escaped. The economy is vulnerable to economic chaos due to several monetary and policy mistakes made since the 2008 recession. And this is a James Rickards thing. He's a big gold guy and has been for a long time. New gold-backed crypto system among countries. Gold integral part of the investment strategy. What this is, folks, and you need to go watch it, and the link is from this guy, so at Popescu, and then he's got the link to this video right here. Go and watch this video. If you get to the 950 mark, Jim Rickards starts talking about how Russia and China are going to create, they've been hoarding gold and saving, buying more and more gold. And he said that they are going to come out with a crypto that is tied to gold or is like an SDR, and then it's going to allow them to trade between their countries. Okay, and then from Gold Money Research, a new phenomenon in monetary policy is something called negative interest rates. Negative interest rates means that cash deposits incur a charge for storage at a bank rather than receiving interest income. 4 countries currently have this. Okay, countries with negative interest rates. Negative 0.10%, negative 0.25%, negative 0.65%, negative 0.75%. Japan, Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland. Okay, imagine having a bank account and you've got to pay them. They don't pay you any interest on your money anymore. Instead, you just pay them for the privilege of having a bank account. Meanwhile, as Panda Ripple XRP has found, at Ripple Panda XRP, this person has done a complete study of something that BitTrue is offering. Okay, I'm not going to go through all of it. You can go to their feed and look at all of it. BitTrue has come out with something that they call the Power Piggy program, I guess, where you can earn up to 7.3% interest on your crypto holdings. This is my question to you, who is going to open bank accounts and put their money in bank accounts when they're all being offered this type of interest rate on a crypto account? Folks, no one is the answer. No one. And so this is an obvious where all this is going. And I want to say very up front, I'm not in any way endorsing any of these companies, including BitTrue, that pay interest, especially these type of interest rates. This kind of stuff makes me a little nervous, the idea that somebody's going to pay me that much in interest. Anytime you get close to 8% and beyond 8%, I start getting nervous because it just seems kind of too good to be true. So I'm not in any way endorsing this. Okay, moving along. I wanted to show you this, XRP Neo. I've talked about this before, but he kind of broke these 3 down. Among board of directors at Ripple, we have 3 members that are connected to the current or past White House administrations. Gene Sperling, Anja Manuel, Ken Kurson. So Gene Sperling served as the National Economic Council Director and National Economic Advisor under President Clinton from 1997 to 2001. Anna Manuel, Condoleezza Rice, Stephen Hadley, and Robert Gates. So this is served as founding partner with Condoleezza Rice. Ken Kurson, a friend of President Trump's son-in-law and advisor Jared Kushner. So all of these people, is your digital asset, does your digital asset have people around it that are this kind of connected? I don't think so. Finally, I want you to see this. This is fascinating. Go to @Holo Island News, and I want you to see this because this is something that is very interesting, folks. This is one of the guys involved in Holochain, and he's describing what they are trying to accomplish with Holochain. And I think that once you watch this video, you will understand why a lot of us are very excited about what is going on there. And I'm a buyer of Holo, and they do not pay me anything to talk about this. In fact, just so you know, folks, I'm offered every day of my life to be paid to promote different digital assets. I've never accepted payment from anybody in digital assets to talk about them. The only digital assets I talk about on this channel are digital assets that I buy myself and I like and think they have a future. That's it. that would not be a good thing for me to accept payment from people to promote their digital assets. And as another side note, I have never spoken to anyone at Ripple. Nobody at Ripple has ever talked to me. They've never emailed me, texted me, anything, period. And so every once in a while, I like to remind people of that because that's the dealio. Next, I wanted to give a shout out here. This is from DLT Game Changer, at DLT Game Changer. Starting my morning with a Americano with cinnamon, the digital asset investor from Starbucks, and he's watching my daily videos, so I wanted to give a shout out. I'm the digital asset investor. I am not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that the digital asset investor does put cinnamon in his coffee. Thanks for listening.